What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I'm Anthony. On today's video, we're going to be doing another update of the grape trellis. This is year number 3. That's right, today we're going to be doing an update of the grape trellis that I built 2.5 years ago. So basically, for those of you who haven't been paying attention, I did this build right here about 2.5 years ago. I'll put a link down below to the original video. It's got about 25,000 views as of now. So it's been passed around. People have looked at it. People have liked it. People have enjoyed my idea, and they've been asking me, hey, how's it working out? If you've got any grapes yet, that kind of thing. So I wanted to make sure that I put a video out showing y'all what it looks like now in year 3, because I want you to know that if you wanted to try something like this yourself, how successful you will be. The thing I have to make sure that I mentioned is the fact that I live in South Carolina, so it is not easy here to grow bunching grapes, mainly because of things like brown rot. Okay, brown rot is a fungal disease that really takes a toll on a lot of Concord style grapes. So when it comes down to it, you really have to pay attention to the variety that you choose, because if you don't choose the right variety, you'll never even make it this far, because it's going to get a fungus, it's going to get a disease and die back. So if you pick the right variety, this one is the Mars variety. If you pick the right variety, then you won't have to deal with quite as many issues. But preemptively, I'm still making sure I spray for brown rot with a copper sulfate spray, a fungicide, so I don't have to worry about that problem. If you kind of start early and you be proactive about it, you won't have to worry about it. So that's what I'm doing. You can see the vines have filled out great, and one of the things I did this year prior to them opening up and budding was I made sure to lop off almost every single one of these side shoots. All right, I've only kept the long vine, and I kept 2 of the side shoots just to kind of see how the vine reacts to being pruned. Because one thing that I've learned from all my talking to people who have grapes, from learning from others that have done this before me, is you want to heavily prune your grapevines so you actually get grapes. So I wanted to make sure that when I did prune these, I was able to kind of see where the grapes actually grow. If they come out from like the little armpit from where the side shoot was, or if they kind of grow on new wood. And because I know things like blackberries like to grow on 1-year-old canes. Okay, if you have a new cane that comes up, you're not going to get blackberries that first year. And if you have 1-year-old cane, that's where the fruit's going to come. And if you already had fruit on that cane, there's not going to be anything the following year, so you have to prune them. If you don't prune them, you're not going to get any fruit. So I wanted to pay attention how the fruit kind of develops on these vines. So as you can see, this is one of those side shoots that I did not trim. I wanted to see what happens when you don't trim or prune a side shoot. And as you can see, it grew out the end, but it also grew more on every single little kink in the vine. So the way it worked is I have grapes here, 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 and here. So one thing you have to pay attention with is if all these grapes kind of come to fruition and they all make it, this is not going to be able to support that. It's probably going to break under its own weight, which is why we make sure to put a wire trellis underneath here so they don't break under their own weight. So if this kind of makes it and all these grapes do grow to the point where they're going to ripen, I'm going to have to do some heavy pruning so this doesn't break. So that's why we make sure to cut these side shoots. So right here, the new grapes grow right directly on the vine that's already supported by that wire. Another issue that I had this year was we had kind of a really warm end of winter and then a really cold early spring. So at the end of February, first 2 weeks of March, the temperatures were hitting high 60s, 70s, and we haven't had like 2 80-degree days. So all the plants around here, all the trees started to wake up from dormancy early. And that's a bad thing, because obviously right around, I think it was March 18th, we got basically a week of 29 degrees at night. So all that new growth on all these trees and vines and everything was starting to die off because of freeze. A lot of plants don't like freezes, and grapes especially do not like freezes. So what happened was these over here on the end opened first, and they all show signs of frost damage or freeze damage. So I left them on here to see if they would self-recover, but if they don't self-recover, then I'm going to just prune them off, because I don't want the plant to be spending all the energy trying to fix that. I want to be putting all the energy into making fruits. So everything else around here had issues as well. In the case of my pear tree, I got no pears this year. In the case of my peach tree, I lost about half the blooms. In the case of the fig tree, all the foliage died. But the grapes over here just have a little bit of foliage that kind of messed up, but the ones here that didn't open yet all seem to be doing just fine. We've also had a pretty rainy spring so far, to the point where we've had like several days of like really good rain, meaning like 2-3 inches in the course of one day, and that alone is stressing out a lot of the plants. Okay, there's a lot of things in here that usually don't have issues that are starting to have issues because it's the plants are stressed, okay, and bugs and all that stuff are going to attack things that are stressed. So luckily with this grapevine, it's basically taken all the punches that's been thrown at it, and it's been doing very well. And I want to walk y'all along to show you exactly what the vines look like so you can see how well it's growing. See, there was a tip that died from the frost, but there's some new growth right behind it. Alright, so as you can see, this grape trellis has done its job. It has done exactly what I wanted it to do, and it has kept the grapevines alive long enough to be able to produce fruit. Alright, that was the entire reason why I built this. I wanted to make sure I have the ability to produce fruit. Now, what happens after the fact? If this thing gets brown rot, or if bugs come and tear it apart, or the heat or the drought or whatever kind of affects it, it's not the trellis's fault. The trellis did its job. I can't really speak for the other conditions that might happen this summer, but as of now, you see the amount of grapes that this vine has been producing, which is a very good thing, and that's why I'm super happy that I did this. So if you are looking at doing a design, check this one out because it totally worked out. That being said, if you like this video at all, please do me a humongous favor and give me a thumbs up. It very much helps me out, and I would absolutely appreciate it. Subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later, okay?